Hi, beautiful souls. This is Emmi from Feminine Revered, and I know many of you have been waiting for an update from me about my Egypt retreat that took place in February and March. And my goodness me, it's taken me a long time to integrate all of the experiences that happened. And in some ways, I think I'm still integrating some of it. And it's also taken me a long time to kind of get back into my work routines and back into so-called reality as well. So you might have noticed that I've been more silent and quiet than usual in terms of even emailing you. But it feels like I'm finally getting back into the flow more and more and ready to share about my experiences with you now as well. And it really felt like an impossible task to put this all into writing. So I decided just to record a short video for you, sharing some of the highlights of that retreat with you. And I really have to say that this time around, Egypt opened herself up to me at a much deeper level than before. And I had such amazing, deep insights and initiations and activations throughout the journey. And each sacred site, each temple had so much unique energy, so many unique messages to share with me personally, and of course with us as a retreat group, as a collective as well. One of the most beautiful things for me was really connecting with the River Nile. We spent 4 nights on the river, sailing on our private boat. And we would stop at riverbanks overnight and then continue sailing in the morning and during the day, and then stop at those points where the temples that we wanted to visit were at. And just simply connecting with this energy, this water energy of the Nile in itself was so very special for me. And I managed to go for a couple of swims in the Nile as well. Such high vibration water in so many ways. And just the act of floating on the Nile in an unhurried way, being able to really connect with the water was truly special for me. In terms of the sacred sites, some of the highlights for me were Esna Temple, just purely because of the beauty of the hieroglyphs and the artwork on the walls and on the amazing pillars at this temple. And they are still reconstructing parts of that temple, and in fact doing maintenance work on the surface areas of the temple, so we couldn't even access all of it, but what we could see there was just stunningly beautiful. And just standing there trying to understand the meanings of the hieroglyphs and the sequence of the hieroglyphs, because they usually always tell a story, and allowing your intuition to guide you in terms of how you would even begin to interpret those hieroglyphs was truly magical. And I also recognize how much more I know now than when I went there last time. So being able to read into the hieroglyphs was a really delicious, yummy journey this time as well. Another highlight would have been the Komombo Temple, which used to be a hospital and a healing center to which people from all around the world would travel to. And of course, the energy there is palpable. For me, I actually managed to, so to speak, prove a theory that had started during my last visit to Komombo. And that is that in certain parts of the temple in Komombo and many other temples as well, you find these holes that are going deep into the walls of the temple in different parts of the temple as well. And the theory is that I hold is that when you sing or chant or speak or even whisper into those holes, they carry the sound to another part of the temple. And this time round, I went back to these holes under this very special archway. This looks very simple, doesn't look very prominent or magical at all. But when you actually stand underneath it and when you're in the vicinity of that archway, wow, the energy is super, super powerful, very healing as well. And this time around, I started to make the sound Om into a couple of these holes on the wall by this archway. And just a couple of minutes later, our local tour guide, Mahmoud, the wonderful Mahmoud, comes running from the other side of the temple. And he's asking, Emmy, what did you do? And I'm like, what did you hear? And he said he could hear the sound Om all the way on the other side of the temple. And he actually recognized my voice as well. And as soon as he heard it, he came running over to the archway where I was making this sound. So that was pretty cool. My theory has been proven. Another part that was very special, of course, would be Dendera, the temple that is dedicated to Hathor, the great mother goddess. And again, the energy there was very, very special, very healing, very palpable as well. And we got a chance to actually go down into the chambers or the what would you call them, tunnels that are underneath the temple and connected with the hieroglyphs, the engravings that are there. Very special. I get goosebumps just thinking about that experience. And another special place would have been Karnak. The Karnak temple itself has quite a masculine energy to me, with its very, very tall pillars, obelisks, and so on. But the Karnak grounds also host the holiest of holies, the chamber dedicated to Sekhmet, the lion goddess. And we got a chance to go and see Sekhmet in a private visit. Just a small group from our overall retreat group managed to go there this time round, and connecting with Sekhmet and specifically connecting with her in this group was so, so very powerful. The energy in that chamber was out of this world, and we could literally feel these portals into other dimensions, into ancient wisdom opening up for us as well. And I remember at one point I placed my hands over Sekhmet's hands. This is a statue of Sekhmet that is way taller than us. And I placed my hands over her hands at one point, closed my eyes and started connecting. And the energy, the vibration that I was feeling coming from this statue was incredible. And at one point, it even got so strong and so powerful that I kind of was flung backwards and had to kind of grab the wall behind me in order not to fall. That is how powerful Sekhmet is and her energy and vibration in that chamber. Another very, very special place, temple that I hadn't actually visited before, was the temple of Abydos. Abydos is a place that not so many tourists go to yet, although it's becoming more and more popular. And this is such a healing temple. You can work with all of your chakras at this temple. It's got chambers for every single chakra there, and it's dedicated to many different gods and goddesses. And it also hosts scenes from the resurrection of Osiris. So the story of Isis and Osiris and the conceiving of Horus, their son. So it's a very, very special place. And there is this beautiful chamber there where there is this hole or opening on the roof where light shines in a very, very magical way. And just standing in that stream of light is very special and healing. And I have to share with you a story that happened to me. Often when I do healing work, when I'm working either hands-on with a client or I'm doing distance healing for a client, I feel what is going on for them in my own body. It is not something that harms me or hurts me. It's just simply my body letting me know what is going on for them, and then I can support them to heal that or release that, whatever it is that is going on for them. Now, we were on a bus on our way to Abydos, and a couple of hours before we got to Abydos, I started to feel really, really cold. It was super strange. I wasn't feeling sick otherwise, but my whole body just started to shake and shiver. And I kept on feeling colder and colder and colder. And it would perhaps ease after an hour or so. I would maybe have 20 minutes of respite or 30 minutes of respite, and then the coldness would come back. And it was really strange to feel this and to kind of hold space for this coldness, not really understanding what was going on and what it was symbolizing or representing, this whole coldness. And the whole night, because we before we visited Abydos Temple, we slept in a guest house, a beautiful guest house run by a true legend, a true walking treasure trove and cave of wisdom, Amir, who is really the guardian of the temple at Abydos. And we stayed at his guest house, which in itself is a very powerful place. And that whole night, I kept on feeling cold. I was shivering and shaking. And at one point, and to be honest, I can't remember exactly if it happened that night or if it happened the following day after we'd paid a visit to the temple. But nevertheless, I went into this kind of like this trance state and could feel all this energy, all this gunk like energy inside my body circulating everywhere. Potentially stuff that was coming up for the participants of the retreat, and potentially also gunk that was collectively in the air, in the vibration of the country, and especially the location that we were going into. And it was very powerful, this energy. And I remember just being in this confused state, almost like, what am I doing? What am I going to do with all this energy? What am I supposed to do with it? How am I supposed to clear this or heal this? And then suddenly I just had this insight there that I should move this energy, all this gunk, into my womb space. And I focused and consciously gathered all this gunk that was floating around in my body energetically and brought it into my womb space. And as I did that, I felt the energy of Isis and I felt the energy of the vulture goddess Nekbet just also land inside my womb space. And they both just spread their wings in a way that created this safe container within my womb space for whatever healing needed to happen. And that felt super powerful. And then this gunk that was now swirling around in my womb space, the sacred scarab, the beetle, the dung beetle that is known for rolling balls out of dung, appeared into my womb space. This beetle is very, very sacred for the Egyptians and a symbol of rebirth and death and birth in many ways, and also meant to bring you good luck. So in this trance state that I was in, the scarab just took all this gunk, took all this energy from my womb space and started to roll it into a ball. And once the scarab was finished rolling all of this into a ball, Osiris appeared and very, very gently, very gingerly picked up this ball of gunk from my womb space, carried it very gently, very carefully away from me, and then buried it deep underground. And yeah, that was just a very powerful experience to go through myself and to, number one, witness what happens when we surrender and trust and just allow for whatever needs to happen. And when we're working in such ancient, powerful healing lands like Egypt, what is powerful, what is possible, rather. And then at Abydos temple itself, I was also calling for healing for myself. And soon after that, I started to feel a whole lot better. The coldness disappeared. And on the way back from Abydos to Cairo, I was feeling better and better all the time. Having said all of that, and there's so many other stories I could still share, but having said all of that, I think my absolute highlight during this retreat was spending a night at the desert. So we were accompanied by Bedouins and taken to a very special spot in the middle of nowhere, really, in the Western desert. And we set up a campsite, a fireplace, and some of us chose to sleep around the fire underneath the stars. And that was such a beautiful experience in and of itself. And I definitely left a part of my heart in the desert and want to hold another retreat next year in 2024, specifically in the desert. So it could be a 3-night or a 5-night desert initiation that I'm inviting anyone who is, even my voice is changing as I say this. I'm inviting anyone who feels the call of the vastness and the void and the silence of the desert, who feels the call of rock formations, rocks that have a very powerful feminine energy, mother-like energy. I literally wanted to melt into the rocks at the space where we were camping. And there was and yeah, if you're feeling the call to work deeply with your womb space, the desert is like a womb, a sacred container within which you can yourself spiral and journey and travel deeper into your own womb. Very, very special place. And at this place where we were camping, about a 15-minute walk away from where our tents were set up, I had spotted a couple of very special feeling rocks. And I decided early the following morning, only one other person was awake at this time, but I decided to walk over to the rocks. I had no idea how long it was going to take me because distances are quite hard to gauge on the desert. But it took me about 13 to 15 minutes to get there. And then I spent time at the rocks meditating. And the one that I was leaning against actually had this very special dent or indentation on it that was shaped like a cobra. It was incredibly clear that it was shaped like a cobra. And when I placed my hand in this indentation, the vibration was again super, super powerful. So we were definitely in snake spirit country, or land. And part of the retreat that I want to do will also be about connecting with the snake spirit and the snake goddess. We also got a chance to visit a temple that was dedicated to the snake goddess after our visit to the desert. And that was also very, very beautiful. Mm, yeah, I think I have shared quite a bit for you now. Let me tune in to see if there's anything else that wants to come through. Not right now. If anything else needs to be shared, I will put that in an email or record another video. But those were just some of my highlights from this retreat. And special thanks to Zephi, my co-facilitator, and special thanks to all of the participants who joined us on this journey. We went deep, we dove deep, and we rose high so many times. And my 2024 retreat is going to be another deep dive that allows you to do a lot of personal healing, and really take yourself to the next level of your evolution in many ways. So I am inviting you to let me know if you would like to join me next year. It'll probably be sometime in October, November. And I would love to have you with us. It will be a small group because I will be holding space, possibly with another person for all of you. And I want it to be enable a space where we all feel like we are having enough attention to each of us and also enough space for each of us. So let me know if this is calling you, and I will happily send you more information as soon as I have put down more of the details for the retreat. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you feel inspired. Let me know how you feel about my sharing and if there was anything that came through for you as you were listening. Bye for now.